welcome to the VestedSports.com preview of UCHRGV women's basketball and Grand Canyon University. These are two teams that know each other well, having already met once this season, Grand Canyon picking up a 60-59 victory. When we look at UCHRGV, despite their successful non-conference schedule, UCHRGV really hasn't found a way to gel in the conference season, and the results have been mixed. They'll look to start that conference season anew on Thursday and look to pick up a second consecutive conference win when they take on Grand Canyon from the UCHRGV Fieldhouse. UCHRGV enters 15-9, 5-3 in the Western Athletic Conference, and has seen themselves become one of the best defensive teams the WAC has ever seen. They're currently second in the WAC, allowing just 54.5 points per game, which is actually better than the average they had last season when they set a program record of 19 wins. Their Achilles heel, however, has been their offensive inconsistency. UCHRGV is shooting just 35% from the floor in conference and averaging just 61 points per game. That total is far worse than any other season in the Tidwell era, but it's not beyond being salvaged. If UCHRGV can find consistency and can find prolonged offensive attacks, they are poised to do some real damage in the second half of WAC play and potentially earn the program's first WAC championship after making two consecutive trips to the title game in 2015 and 2016. UCHRGV is led by everything guard Shantae Goff. We can't underestimate the skill of this girl, who's averaging 15.2 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 1.7 steals. In fact, she picked up a double-double in their last game, which is unheard of from a guard, picking up the double-double both in points and rebounds. Meanwhile, recent double-double phenom Hilda Bjork-Harkin's daughter adds 7.1 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 1.8 assists per game. Now, an often overlooked component of UCHRGV is the gritty play of compact guard Bernicia Peters, who, despite her diminutive size at just 5'1", has loomed big for UCHRGV on the offensive side of the glass. Peter has reached double figures in 3 straight games and has done so 11 separate times this season, bringing her average up to 8.7 points per game. Now, if we take a second to look at Grand Canyon, they're 12-8, 4-3 in the WAC coming in, but they're going to look to regroup from a huge loss to CU's Bakersfield last weekend. And that was a match that I think both teams would like to forget if at all possible. In that game, you saw a slew of ejections. 12 players between Grand Canyon and CSU Bakersfield were tossed from that game after a scrum that led to blows in the fourth quarter. On top of the 12-player ejections, there were 3 assistant coaches ejected and a team trainer. So certainly emotions were running high at the end of that game before CSU Bakersfield pulled away for the big victory. Now, what does that mean for tonight? Well, the scrum will cost Grand Canyon 2 players, first of which Mariana Laramie, who's leading the WAC in points and is by far the best offensive threat for Grand Canyon, is going to serve a 1-game suspension, as well as Salura Massakow. Now, both of them have that automatic 1-game suspension per the WAC rules, NCAA Rule Number 10, Section 5, Article 1, which says that anyone who's ejected from a game will immediately have to sit out the following game, both of which will serve their game against UCHRGV tonight. Now, the Lopes as a team are well balanced. Head coach Trent May is a very, very skilled coach. He's got this team averaging 65 points per game and shooting 43% from the floor. That's astounding in women's basketball. Now, overall, Grand Canyon is led, of course, by Laramie, as we talked about, 19.6 points, 7.1 rebounds, 1.5 assists, while Bree Mobley adds 15.3 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 2.9 assists. So realistically, if Laramie was on the floor, they have 2 legitimate double-double threats. But with Laramie out, it looks like Bree Mobley is going to be the go-to player. And this match is going to be the 8th pairing between UCHRGV and Grand Canyon in a series that just dates back to 2014, when both Grand Canyon and UCHRGV joined the Western Athletic Conference. Grand Canyon leads the series 3-4. However, UCHRGV had won 2 straight prior to that 60-59 loss earlier this year. If you want to catch all the live action, you can catch it on Spectrum Sports alternate channel. I think that's 823. It's also on the WAC Digital Network, and you can follow live stats at gouchrgv.com. Of course, after the buzzer, please make sure to check back at VestedSports.com for a full recap and quotes. Again, this is Brian Smith, and thanks for tuning in to the preview of VestedSports.com.